The land now known as Tal'dorei, once called Gwesar by the ancient elves, carries the weight of ages in its soil. Scars of old conflicts mark the landscape, none so deep as those left by the scattered war. For 32 long years, the human kingdom of Drasig and the elven city of Singorn clashed, their struggle a slow burn that finally erupted into open war around the year 504 of the post-divergence era. By 536 PD, Drasig had fallen, and from its ashes rose a new order. Zan Tal'dorei, a visionary leader, understood that the old ways of absolute rule had sown the seeds of destruction. In the wake of war, unity was paramount, and so, around 536 PD, the Tal'dorei Empire was born. Not as a singular dominion, but with a council at its heart. Zan established the Tal'dorei Council, not merely as advisors, but as partners in governance. This was no empty gesture. Zan deliberately sought out wise voices, scholars with their dusty tomes, generals with their battle-worn strategies, philosophers with their endless questions, even those who held dissenting views, weaving their diverse threads into the fabric of the young empire's leadership. From its very inception, this council was meant to be a tapestry of perspectives, a balance against the potential for tyranny. The early council was structured around masters, each entrusted with a vital aspect of the realm. There was the Master of Development, whose vision shaped the burgeoning cities, the Master of Arcana, who watched over the delicate dance of magic, the Master of Law, who upheld the principles of justice, the Master of Commerce, who guided the flow of trade, the Master of Information, who peered into the shadows of diplomacy, and the Master of Defense, who stood as the shield of the Empire. Recognizing that war demanded a singular focus, a seventh Master of War could be appointed in times of crisis. This division of power, established so early in the Empire's history, spoke of a commitment to order and efficiency, a recognition that a realm's strength lay in the careful tending of its many parts. As the centuries turned, the influence of the Tal'dorei Council within the Empire grew like a sturdy oak. Conceived as an advisory body to the sovereign, it gradually became the very heart of power, the mainspring of governance. This evolution was a testament to its effectiveness, its ability to adapt and navigate the ever-shifting currents of a growing realm. Perhaps the collective wisdom of the Council proved a more reliable anchor than the whims of any single ruler. The diverse expertise gathered within its halls likely fostered a stability that resonated with the people, earning their trust and solidifying the Council's authority. The history of the Tal'dorei Council saw a pivotal shift. Sovereign Uriel Tal'dorei II wore that crown with dignity, striving to be a just ruler in a land threatened by chaos, corruption, and ancient powers that stirred beneath the surface. In the shining halls of Emon's Cloudtop district, he reigned not as a tyrant but as a man of vision, a sovereign who listened to his people and dreamed of a better, more balanced realm. But rule is a burden, and the crown weighs heaviest on those who carry it alone. Uriel had faced growing instability in his realm, whispers of cult activity, rising criminal syndicates, and the burden of preserving order in a realm where even the skies held danger. Through careful consultation and a deep concern for Tal'dorei's future, Uriel began to understand that no one man, no matter how noble, could bear the responsibility of guiding such a vast and vulnerable realm. And so, with the guidance of trusted advisors and the quiet encouragement of allies like Vox Machina, Uriel prepared for a radical change. He would step down, and with his abdication, the monarchy itself would die. The decision was not made lightly. Many among the noble houses protested. Some whispered of weakness, others feared the collapse of centuries of tradition. But Uriel believed in a future greater than himself, one built not on bloodlines, but on unity. He would not leave his people to another crown. He would leave them a council. He announced his decision in a public gathering that would be remembered for generations. The monarchy would dissolve, and in its place a council would rise, one built to share the burdens of governance, each seat a pillar of leadership for a new republic. The Tal'dorei Council would oversee the land. Yet before the ink could dry on this new chapter of history, the skies split open. The Chroma Conclave descended in fury. 4 ancient dragons led by Thordak the Cinder King launched a sudden and devastating assault on Emon. Towers collapsed beneath acid and flame. Screams filled the streets. Uriel, who had guided his people with clarity and resolve, was struck down by Raishan's venom in the chaos. He did not live to see the Republic rise. The crown died with him, but his dream did not. From the ashes of Emon and the loss of its last sovereign, the Tal'dorei Council emerged, scarred by war, tempered by grief, and determined to carry Uriel's vision forward. At the head of arcane affairs stood Allura Visoran, appointed as Master of Arcana. She was a powerful and respected wizard, whose experience dealing with magical threats made her the natural guardian of Tal'dorei's arcane networks. It was through her oversight that teleportation circles were re-established, magical infrastructure was secured, and dangerous arcane relics kept under watch. The judiciary belonged to Arbiter Brom Goldhand, the Master of Law. As a long-standing magistrate of Emon, he had earned a reputation for fairness and incorruptibility. His role was to ensure that justice served all, noble or commoner alike, and that the Republic's legal code remained free of the favoritism that had plagued the old monarchies. Guardian Tofor Bratoris, a decorated general, became the Master of Defense. Her command of the standing armies and city guards helped rebuild order in the aftermath of the Conclave's destruction. Loyal, practical, and unyielding, Tofor embodied the martial strength that held the Republic's borders firm. Overseeing the growing economy was Vexalia de Rolo, hero of Vox Machina, who eventually assumed the title of Coin Mistress, Master of Commerce. She navigated trade negotiations, regulated merchant activity, and opened new trade routes, bringing prosperity back to a land devastated by war. Her keen insight into both nobility and frontier life made her a rare and valuable asset. Hearthmaker Edelburn Cleareyes, a Goliath craftsman of quiet dignity, served as Master of Development. Cities in ruin turned to him for rebuilding, and his decades of experience in architecture and civic planning brought roads, homes, and aqueducts back to life. He had no interest in power, only in progress. The shadows of Tal'dorei were guarded by Seeker Odessa Tal'dorei, daughter of the late sovereign and Master of Information. She headed the Republic's intelligence network, rooting out conspiracies, monitoring foreign influence, and serving as the Council's secret eyes and ears. Though young, Odessa proved sharp and capable, with a loyalty not to thrones, but to truth. The final seat, the Master of War, remained empty. By design, it would only be filled during times of open war, requiring a supermajority vote of the Council. This seat was created as a lesson learned from the Conclave's attack, ensuring that in future crises, Tal'dorei would have a central wartime commander. Until such times, it remained sealed. The Tal'dorei Council stands today not as a flawless construct, but as a living endeavor. It is a republic built on sacrifice, on hope, and on the belief that power should be shared. From the ashes of a lost sovereign rose a body that continues to shape the fate of the realm. Each master carrying their own story, each seat echoing with choices made and challenges ahead. If you've enjoyed this tale of politics, legacy, and leadership, don't forget to like and subscribe. And in the next chapter of Tal'dorei's history, we turn our gaze away from the marble chambers of Emon and descend into the shadows, where whispers move faster than coin, and power is bought with blood. Next episode, The Clasp.